The 7 million trees planted in 2021 survived. 72% of the 24 million planted in 2022 survived. And then the 10.7 million trees planted in 2023, 81% survived. And so averagely, 73.3% of about 42 million trees planted have survived. And that number, had the minister mention, around 30 million of the trees have survived. But the president has been speaking as well as part of today's event, and he says that his government is committed in reducing carbon emissions by 64 million tons. Speaking at the Green Ghana Day event, the president called on all agencies to support the initiative to protect the country's forest reserves.
7 million hectares. This has serious implications for food security, sustainable communities, and national development. We must work together to change this narrative. Although we Africans are amongst the least contributors to the climate crisis, our continent of Africa suffers the most. We in Ghana are thus committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 64 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent by 2030 and enhancing our resilience and adaptation to climate change in accordance with our enhanced nationally determined contributions. To achieve this goal, at the 28th session of the Conference of Parties Framework Convention on Climate Change, held in Dubai, the United States. This initiative aims to prevent, halt, and reverse the degradation of ecosystems and raise awareness of the importance of successful ecosystem restoration. In the last 3 years, with your unwavering support, we have planted some 42 million trees, most of which are thriving. Today, we have the opportunity to add at least an additional 10 million trees.
That's the president. Let's engage Awula Serwah, who's the co-coordinator, I should say, of Eco-Conscious Citizens Ghana, on the president's latest words and whether really those within the environmental space trust the words of the president that he will protect the environment like he's been saying. Awula, many thanks for joining us this afternoon here on News Central. You've heard the president speak again on yet another day where we're seeking to plant a lot more trees to restore tree cover, restore our forest cover underlines. Does the president's words give you the assurance that you need as civil society within the environment space?
Thank you for having me. The president made an undertaking 5 years ago that he was putting his presidency on the line to protect our forests. And 5 years down the line, I'm not quite sure that there's been any improvement. In fact, things are far, far worse than before the president put his presidency on the line. We are talking about so many trees being planted. I don't know who has actually checked where the data is coming from. But what I would say is that if the president is interested in protecting our environment, then the first thing he should do is to repeal EI 144, which declassified parts of Achimota Forest, one of the last remaining forest reserves in Accra. The forest reserves are our lungs. So why would you declassify hectares of forest from the forest reserve? So if we are serious about the environment, let's revoke EI 144. And then Parliament passed LI 2462, which allows for mining in forest reserves, including globally significant biodiversity areas. The president was talking about ecosystems. If we are serious about ecosystems, why would we pass LI 2462, which is allowing for mining in forest reserves, many of which were there before those disclassifying or passing the law were born? So these are indicators that would show that we are serious or not serious about the environment. We've also asked for a pause on community mining, which is creating havoc. So for us, we need to have indicators that show that we are serious. Not one day where we supposedly plant so many trees. I don't know. I haven't been counting. I don't know how many are surviving. But I challenge us to go to the forest reserve devastated by mining, and let's see what is happening there. And let's plant trees there so that we can see that we are serious about a restoration of what has been destroyed. Otherwise, it looks like planting a few trees when in actual fact, our forest cover has drastically diminished.
Right. In terms of the numbers, we've been collating the numbers from Forest Watch. They say 1.64 million hectares of the country's tree cover has been lost over the last 2 decades. And we did the computation. That's like 5 times the size of the Greater Accra region. The government says that they've been seeking to do some good job in replacing some of these trees. We've planted 42 million. Today we'll be seeking to add some 10 more million trees to it. Out of the 42 that we've planted already, we say about 30 million of them have survived and are doing well. In fact, if you look at the statistics from Forest Watch International, these tree covers that we've been losing, or a lot of the forest or vegetation cover we've been losing, happens to be in areas predominant or known mostly for illegal mining, Western region and the likes. Does this come as a concern that we continue to hear the rhetoric of protecting the environment, and yet data from some of these civil society or environmental watch groups points to the fact that it really is not the case?
Precisely what we are saying, that it appears to be a gimmick. We can go with what Forest Watch is saying because they are credible, they are reliable. And what I'm saying is that we are not serious about protecting the environment. We would stop granting licenses to mine in forest reserves if we were serious. The whole country should watch Poison for Gold. We should all watch Destruction for Gold, and we'll see the state of our forest reserves in addition to what Forest Watch is saying. So if we are serious about Green Ghana, let's first of all, as I've said, do away with EI 144 and LI 2462. And then we pause community mining, because even community mining, we are not being able to monitor. The EPA cannot monitor as it should. There's so many concessions being given for community mining. They can't even properly monitor the few big companies we have. So we should pause community mining. We should have a public inquiry into Professor Frimpong Boateng's report so that the high flyers who are involved in destroying our environment should be dealt with. As it is, we are still waiting for the directors of Akonta Mining to be held accountable for allegedly destroying parts of the Tano Nimiri Forest Reserve. As I speak, the Minerals Commission should be ashamed of itself. It has granted licenses to destroy by mining in the Draw River Forest Reserve. So many forest reserves, including key biologically significant biodiversity areas. So we are not serious. This to me is a gimmick, and it's a shame because it's an insult to Ghanaians.
Awula, I appreciate that you could provide these thoughts for us. That's Awula Serwah. She's a coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens Ghana, speaking to us this afternoon in relation to the tree planting exercise currently happening across the country. We know the Vice President has planted trees as well. The President has supervised one of the exercises as well. And across the country, everybody's been admonished to be able to plant trees in the district, constituencies, the neighborhood near you. You can actually go for any of the seedlings and plant them for yourself.